Hi Pookies, hello. How are you today? Yes, welcome back to another episode of the Blunt News podcast where we say things we were never meant to say out loud. Grab your water, grab your notebook, grab your pen, and let us lock in. Today we are going to do a deep dive on boundaries. What are boundaries? Where I end and you begin. It is basically the science of self-protection. So yeah, what are boundaries? Let us go straight into it. A boundary is a line that marks the limits of an area, a dividing line, which means a boundary is a rule, it's a virtual line drawn between you and I, a line that says this is what I am okay with, this is what I am not okay with, this is what will happen when you do what I am not okay with. Boundaries have consequences, okay? Yeah, so there are various types of boundaries. We have physical boundaries, we have emotional boundaries, we have communication boundaries, digital boundaries, relationship boundaries, and financial boundaries. We are going to break down each one of them briefly. Yes, and then we're going to talk about enforcing boundaries. So I will quickly brush past them. Physical boundaries involve bodily autonomy, and that is who you're comfortable touching you, how you're comfortable being touched, and people approaching your physical body. Emotional boundaries are boundaries that protect you from emotional hurt, emotional pain, emotional trauma. They protect your heart, basically. They regulate who is allowed in your inner space. They protect you from literal emotional trauma. You know how interacting with narcissists can give you trauma and shit? Yeah, they protect you from that. Communication boundaries dictate how someone should communicate with you, how you are comfortable being spoken to, how you are comfortable holding conversations, how you are comfortable, what language and how people approach you from a communication perspective, you know, like usinishautia, that is a communication boundary. Yeah, digital boundaries restrict who has access to you technologically. For example, who has your phone number, who has access to your time online, who you have streaks with, you know, streaks. It's only digital boundaries. Yeah. They include response time expectations. When you text someone and then they dictate how and when you're going to respond to this person. Those are digital boundaries, okay? We have relationship boundaries. Relationship boundaries dictate how you relate with people who you share intimacy with. And intimacy does not just occur between partners, it occurs between family members and friends. Those are relationships too, and those require boundaries as well. Lastly, we have material boundaries. Material boundaries are similar to financial boundaries, and they dictate who has access to your finances and how you manage your finances, okay? So an example of a material boundary can be not lending people money that you are not comfortable gifting. What does that mean? Says you could lend 1,000 and I am not okay giving it to you as a gift, meaning that if you fail to return it, I will be under some sort of pressure. You get? That is a material boundary, and it protects you from using your money in an unwise manner. Alright, so we are going to talk about how to set a boundary. Boundaries are set in a clear and calm manner. Okay? You state your boundary. It's actually pretty simple. You state your boundary. You can explain it if you want to. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. And then you state the consequence if your boundary is not upheld. Simple as that. That is how you make a boundary. Okay, I have various examples. Telling a friend, I can't talk now, my feelings are hurt and I'm emotionally overwhelmed. I need time to recollect. Let us talk later, when this friend is being emotionally draining. There you've stated clearly what you want. I want space. I want to talk later. Yeah, why? Because my feelings are hurt and I am emotionally overwhelmed. What are the consequences? We might just not have this conversation if you insist that we have it now. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Or another example can be telling a partner, I am not okay being spoken to in that manner. And if this continues, I will leave the conversation, when the partner is disrespecting you. If you're having an argument with your partner and they start yelling, they start getting loud, getting physical, and you clearly state, you know what, this is getting out of hand. I am not going to continue having a conversation with you if you keep speaking to me like that. That is a clear and calm boundary. And that is a very valid boundary because, like I said, usinishautie, Yeah. Enforcing boundaries. We have learned how to set boundaries. How do we enforce boundaries? Consistency, minimal explanation, and following through. We have said that a boundary is you state what you want, you state why you want it, and you state what happens if this is not followed. Okay, so you have to be consistent in your demands in a boundary, okay? You can't be setting a boundary between you and your friend today and you're like, you know what, in our friendship, let us never do this, that, and the other. And then tomorrow, you do this, that, and the other. That is not consistency, and that brings a lot of confusion because you set the boundary and you yourself are not following the boundary. Why would you expect another person to follow a boundary that you don't even uphold yourself? You get what I'm saying? So, to enforce boundaries, you need to be consistent. You need minimal explanation. You can't keep explaining yourself to a person. You initially said that this is why I want this to happen. You can't keep repeating the same explanation when this person violates the boundary. That is not enforcing the boundary. That is you tolerating things that you said you will not tolerate, and then finding justifications for the person and listening to justifications from the person. Enforcing boundaries also is about following through. You said this will happen if this continues. For example, you have gone on a date with a person, yeah? And then on this date, this person is speaking to you, first of all, disrespectfully, is rude, is the topic of conversation is not to your liking, and you say that, you know what, if you continue disrespecting me in this manner, I am going to leave this table and I am going to go. When the person continues to speak to you in that manner, leave. Follow through with what you said you will do. Do not be scared, do not be ashamed, do not be skeptical. Follow through. That is what enforcing a boundary is about. Alright, so we are going to talk about why setting boundaries feels mean. Alright, so growing up in an African household, we were taught that being available is the same as being nice. Being self-sacrificing equals being good. Being overextending means being loving. Tolerating nonsense means being understanding. And growing up now, when you say no, you feel the tightening in your chest because you're so used to being a people pleaser, to doing things that make everyone but yourself happy. And now the word no is such a new concept to you, which understandable, but now you need to understand that it is your responsibility to unlearn that. BF Skinner alisema, if behaviors can be learned, they can as well be unlearned. And it is your responsibility to unlearn the people-pleasing tendencies. It is your responsibility to teach yourself to establish and enforce boundaries, because a life without boundaries is very reckless to live, so to say. Okay? Yeah. And when setting boundaries, you need to be ready for guilt tripping, you need to be ready for manipulation, for silent treatment, emotional backlash, for, oh, you have changed, oh, you are too much, oh, you are throwing a tantrum, you're so childish, you're so petty. You need to be ready to hear all of that, but you need to understand that you're doing this for you. You're not doing this for anybody else. You're doing this for you. And this is necessary. Having boundaries makes your life easier to live. We have seen that you're going to receive backlash because of your boundaries. And this is how you're supposed to respond to that backlash. I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. However, my boundary stays. And if you're not okay upholding my boundary, then feel free to leave, or I will leave. Because, you see, you can understand pain, but understanding pain is not excusing the emotional effect it has on you. Okay, I can understand why you're doing the things you're doing, but it is not a justification, because people have been through things, and going through things is no excuse for being a bad person in life. So I can understand why you feel the need to cross my boundaries. However, I cannot permit you to do it once you've done it the first time. I do what I said I will do if my boundary was crossed. Because understanding where you come from, understanding why you're doing the things you're doing is fine. And so is choosing to walk away, choosing to pull away and not engage with you anymore because I feel disrespected, I feel crossed, I feel violated. Two things can be true at once. So yeah, with that, we have come to the end of our episode. I will see you on the next episode. Bye.